I was already liking Leslie because I love a good schemer. I love characters that are schemers, especially on soap operas. By the end of the episode, though, Leslie might have killed someone already, which means her scheming went from 0 to 100 really, really quick. I am so sold on this soap opera. 3 days in a row of cliffhangers. I mean, come on. But before we get there, let me talk about some of the other parts of Wednesday's episode that I enjoyed. A couple of things to critique, however, I do have. It's not a perfect show. Soaps will never be perfect, but that's okay. We're going to continue with the main story, which is Dani, who, as we last saw her, the cliffhanger to Tuesday was her going into Bill's office and shoving everything off the desk with a golf club. And in today's episode, she slaps him. So that's 3 days in a row of Dani just bringing the violence, punching Haley on Monday. On Tuesday, she's using the golf club to take everything off of Bill's desk. And today, slapping Bill. Dani's going to get her shit in, and that is what she's doing. I enjoyed the conversation between Bill and Dani, and they have a very toxic sexual chemistry, I think, together. I thought that Bill was in character during this confrontation. Bill is really being set up as this evil villain. I think the main villain with power is what Bill is being set up, especially with his threats landing on Vernon and Anita. He definitely has something big on Vernon and Anita to give into his request of making sure the Dupree family attends the wedding for Haley so that he can have the wedding for Haley. We'll see what information Bill has on someone in the family or many people in the family, but it's got to be big. In this episode, we learned about Andre's parents dying in a plane crash. We know that I feel like somebody else was missing parents. Maybe I'm just thinking about Haley, but I'm wondering if someone in the family killed someone, because I think that is the kind of big news that would make Anita and Vernon give in to Bill like this, since they are supposedly the big dogs in town, the Dupree family. And Bill said to Vernon in yesterday's episode that he's gotten Vernon and the family out of big messes before. That's why he wants the favor returned with them coming to his wedding. I don't know, but I look forward to seeing what that blackmail actually is against Vernon and the family as a whole. During this confrontation, we had Dani confronting him, being mad that he moved his whore, as she said, into her community. And then Bill went on talking about how he made himself, that her family didn't make him, Vernon didn't make him. I want to see how far this rivalry goes between Bill and the family as a whole, especially Bill and Vernon, though. Right now, Bill is taking the first shot on screen against Vernon, but I don't think it's just going to end here. I think Vernon eventually, as much as he is like the peacekeeper of the family, I think Vernon might be driven to do something big to Bill to try and get revenge at some point if Bill continues down this road that he's going down right now. Dani said she's not afraid of Bill, and she wishes she could put a curse on Bill and Haley. I love the venom that Haley was giving in this confrontation. It was a good first confrontation between the two. And like I said, they have chemistry, and wouldn't be surprised if they end up having sex sooner rather than later again. Either as a way for Dani to prove to Haley that Bill will always be a cheater, which is what she said to Haley before she left, or just because they have that hate sex vibe already going for them. Some other big things that happened in this episode. I was very intrigued by the Vanessa character. She's the only intriguing white character so far. We saw Dani meet up with her after her confrontation with Bill, and it seemed as though she was in disguise, and some guy came to the table saying he was a big fan of her. All we know about Vanessa is that she's a realtor, so why would he be a big fan of her? Why was she in disguise? She made a joke that she hired the guy to do some role play. Dani called her out for this man not being her husband. To me, it came off like Vanessa might be a sex worker. Not necessarily like a hooker, but like webcams, like OnlyFans, something like that was the vibe I was getting, which would be modern, which would be something I would like. That could be a very intriguing and entertaining way to bring that out of the Vanessa character. She's intriguing to me. I like her. Speaking of intriguing, Leslie or Dana, whatever we're calling her, I think her real name is Dana, but she's going by a Leslie. We saw her yesterday with her daughter. I liked them yesterday. She met up with Ashley's mom and a woman that works for Nicole, and they were like spilling the tea on the Dupree family, on Dani. It was fun to see the people outside of the community gossip about the Dupree family and all the drama, despite them having the wealth in the area. And we learned that Leslie lost someone named Alan recently. But then later in the episode, and I was already liking Leslie because I love a good schemer. I love characters that are schemers, especially on soap operas. They're some of my favorite characters, a la Vivian Alamein, Kate Roberts on Days. Back in the day, they were great schemers. Even Sammy on Days. Days is the only references I could think of right now. But by the end of the episode, though, Leslie might have killed someone already, which means her scheming went from 0 to 100 really, really quick. Yesterday, I was talking about how Bill and Haley and Dani are all kind of their own type of villains in their storyline. They're all they're all gray characters, but also more than gray. They all have their villainous sides. Like, Dani is no innocent. She's very much violent, as we've seen 3 episodes in a row. Bill is clearly the big bad, and Haley, she could act naive, but she's a hoe for what she did to the family that took her in. Leslie, clearly a new kind of villain, and maybe the most dangerous of them all. You know, Bill might have the power, but if Leslie is willing to kill someone to get ahead in her schemes, then yeah, she can be the show's Sheila Carter, I guess. I'm assuming she ended up killing Nicole's assistant. Not the one she had dinner with. They both work for Nicole, but the younger one. And also, I guess we don't know if she's dead. She's at least injured, but I'm assuming dead. But maybe she's just injured. Either way, I think what Leslie was going for was so that either her or her daughter can get hired as Nicole's assistant. And I'm assuming after yesterday we saw Leslie having that stare at Ted in the distance, that this has something to do with Ted. We know Ted has a twin brother. Maybe he had something to do with Ted's twin brother. I'm very intrigued, though. And I love this cliffhanger. This was the cliffhanger to today's episode, was her running the assistant off the road. Great cliffhanger for a Wednesday. We're getting a Friday cliffhanger on a Wednesday. I hear we're supposed to have a Friday cliffhanger. If it's going to be bigger than this one, I'm going to be very impressed. But yeah, the character of Leslie could end up being my favorite here soon. I love a good schemer villain, especially one as cold as Leslie seems to be. Some other smaller things that happened today, we got to see Naomi and Chelsea talk as sisters, which I enjoyed. I said on the first episode I enjoy Naomi. Still do. We got to see Naomi be upset about her father again, going on that she hates Bill for what he did. Chelsea seems to try to be more forgiving, but like Haley was supposed to be Naomi's best friend, so I think that is another thing that has Naomi feeling some type of way. What also happened with the family at the end was Anita and Vernon telling the family, including Dani, that they all have to attend Bill's wedding because, like I said earlier, they're giving in to Bill's blackmail. Dani was, of course, upset by that, but being Daddy's girl, Vernon got through to her that it's important. He didn't give her the reason why it's important, but got through to her that it is important. It is cruel of them to ask Dani to attend Haley and Bill's wedding when they got together in an affair under Dani's nose. So Dani has every right to be upset. They kind of try to spin it as though the family will go to make Haley and Bill uncomfortable, not give any congratulations. Naomi was the one that enjoyed the idea, wanting to give all this shit to her father and Haley, and I hope that is what happened at the wedding. I like that element of Naomi in the whole story being Haley's best friend before this, and obviously Bill's her father. One of the weak points remains the Martin and Smitty relationship. The gay couple, of course, they casted people with no chemistry together. Maybe that could be the network's cop-out to not push them further as a couple. I don't know. I'm still very alert to the way American soap operas do gay storylines. Days has gotten better with them over time to an extent. But the rest of them, especially on CBS, no. Still learning all these people. We continue to get new characters, and there's all these side characters too. That's the only other gripe I had is that there's a lot of characters to learn in the first 3 episodes. It is a big cast. I think they're doing okay with introducing everyone, but it is very confusing to remember who everyone is and how they're connected and how they're related. And we're still getting backstories about people dying in plane crashes. That is my only one main critique with the writing is introducing everybody quickly, but it is allowing us to get things like the cliffhangers that we're getting. So I can't complain about it too much, and I'll learn everyone over time. That was the main stuff. We also had some more Andre. He's the one whose parents died in the plane crash, and he was having some family time with Nicole, Ted, and Kat. Kat being Nicole and Ted's daughter. I see a lot of people online loving Nicole. Daphne is doing an amazing job acting as her. She's a great character. Not one of my favorites yet, but there's time for that. I like my messes, and Nicole's not a mess. She's the the most well put together character on the show. For now, that will unravel with whatever happens with the character of Ted and Leslie, if Leslie gets her villainous claws on Ted. Very intrigued with that storyline. Yeah, still great. Looking forward to it. I probably won't be able to give an update tomorrow night because it's Traders Night, so I got to do a Traders video. But Friday, I want to go live and talk about this show, I think. I'll talk about Thursday and Friday's episode on Friday. So join me then in the evening, probably, to not just talk about these 2 episodes, but the first week as a whole of Beyond the Gauge, which has been great to me.